Welcome. Dumela, Salvona, Sakpase, Namaste, Upshin, Dubra Otra, Assalamu alaikum, Hotep, Buenas noches, bonsoir. What's going on? Good evening, everyone. This is Doriel Inez Larrier of Larrier's Education and Resource Network, where I plant seeds to help you grow. Happy New Year. We have made it to the year 2022, and this is going to be a year in review. A year in review. Thank you so much for spending your time with me on multiple platforms, in multiple venues, in multiple opportunities to share some inspirational leaders, some great information, some amazing education of thinking outside the box, of having a few chats with our local politicians, of what else do we do? It's so much, but this is actually going to be our year in review. So for those of you who are not normally following me, again, my name is Doriel Inez Larrier, and I have shown up here over the past year in 2021. I almost want to. It feels kind of like I don't know, like 100 times, just because you all know I constantly push the live button, and I encourage other people to do so as well, to tell their story. Well, here tonight again is going to be a year in review. So those people who are able to do this with me, fabulous. I would love to have you help me do this year in review. I do have a list of some topics and some people and some places and spaces that I've been in and done the best that I can to bring those people, places, and interesting things to you. And so this is going to be an opportunity. In essence, I'm actually interviewing myself. I'm interviewing myself. So why don't we get into it? 2021 has been an opportunity for those people who learned some lessons from the year prior, that sitting in their own private spaces of I'm just going to sit back and let life pass me by, that didn't really work out so well for them. And so I want to give thanks and honor and praise, first of all, to God who made this all possible, who gave me the strength, the tenacity, the je ne sais quoi, in order to push the live button and in order to just start talking about things that I saw, things that I heard. And as I continue to show up authentically, other people took notice, and I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to those people. So let's get into it. Last year began with a series that I do, and it was originally called The Power of Story. And The Power of Story was what is now called the Digital Couch. And that was my opportunity to talk to people that I thought had huge impact on my life personally. And I also know that they impacted the lives of others. And I wanted to actually help that person expand their territory. So those of you who know, I'm raised in a Black church, so I will by default, by default, and a good default, fall into some statements or phrases that just come from my religious and spiritual background. So those persons thought it not robbery, here we go again, to say, hey, I know that you're always live. And as it was just noted a couple of days ago, some people thought, like, what in the world is she doing? And then they started to realize, and they kind of thought, like, oh my gosh, like, here she goes again. But then they realized that I had my, let's say, finger on the digital button, and that finger allowed not just my voice, but the voice of others to be promoted to other places, not just in the city and the state, but across the nation and across the world. And I wanted to take the moment to say, if you have not pushed the button yet, there is still time. All right. So I'm going to run down certain things that I did last year. If you sort of caught me at the end of the year, then you kind of didn't know like all the places and spaces that I was in. So this is going to be, I guess, like a countdown. So why don't we take a look? So this year began, of course. I changed the sort of the focus of the Power of Story, which is the show, which is what we're doing now, and I shifted it to the digital couch. Where did I even come up with that? So I actually used to have I had a classmate from college, and when we would drive, thank you so much for that heart. I really appreciate it. Please drop in the comments so I can see who is here with us. And if you either have a question about what happened last year, or you want to say, hey, that thing that you did was really interesting, or it provided some, it had some influence on how I think or what I do or what I talk about, or if it moved you to make certain choices, of course, for the betterment of yourself, whether it be your individual self or your family or community, that is what I try to do. So I started with trying to just talk to people who I thought, of course, made an impact. And while I was doing that, I noticed that certain people were paying attention and other people were sort of like lurking, right? So I look at people who participate in the digital internet sphere in actually one of three ways. The people who watch and say nothing. The people who will interact and sort of like interact in the comments and thank God for you. You are officially my stream team. And then the people who are like, wow, like, can I do that? Or is that possible? But they kind of don't really know what to do or how to navigate those spaces. That's one of the key words these days. So I want to thank you all for doing that. Well, the digital couch morphed from just sort of telling the story of people to this other platform where I'm not only telling the story, but I'm also helping people to tell the story on their own. So we started out in January. And if I can remember, I'm actually going to try to pull up my YouTube channel in order to show or to go to all the people that we had. If you follow me on YouTube, which I do pray that you will, and you go to Learn to Grow You, the things that I've posted on my personal and my business page have also been duped onto or duplicated onto my YouTube channel. And so you will see a playlist, you'll see a couple of channels, and you'll see the conversations there. Wow. When I started my own conversations with people, here we go. Oh my gosh. So I'm actually going to scroll so that you see what this looks like. Boop. Okay, you're going to see a number of different things. This is my YouTube channel. Oops, let me do it this way. So you're going to see, and if you've rolled with me for a while, you've seen these people. Some of them are in and out of order, but these are some of the people that I've had on my couch, and just shout out to all of them. So I did my own series, there were 3 mini series, as some of you who follow me for a while know. And then God worked in a very interesting way. So my mini series, there were 3 subsections. One was called Politician and the People. And shout out right now, shout out to, I'm from Brooklyn. So our borough president, Eric Adams, who is now the mayor of the city of New York, again, thought in our robbery to say, you know what? First of all, this is a sister who had no fear of, again, I'm Brooklyn, so just pay attention, of stepping to me a year prior and saying, hey, I have this show. I'd love to have you on it. Would you be so kind? But it wasn't just a one-time thing. I literally had to sort of, let the person know that I was very serious about this. And of course, when you show up, people and their team will do their due diligence, and they weren't just going to let any person engage in a conversation with someone who holds an office. And so, again, I'm blessed that I was doing the right thing and followed the lead, and he gave me that opportunity. So we had Borough President Eric Adams, who is now the mayor of the city of New York. We had Brother Josh Pierre, who on the day, so almost a year ago, up to this day, who chatted with me, again, knew my presence in the community and chatted with me on the what is now deemed as the insurrection on the U.S. Capitol. So that was, I believe, January 6th. And then we also had my Senator Kevin Parker, who also chatted with me on my couch. So that was my politician and the people, because I really believe that I'll say local politicians, of course, they know, they hear, they interact with the people on an intimate level, and the people should feel like they are the people's servants and they should be in contact with them. But everybody can't and will not go to a town hall. And that's my premise. Everyone doesn't go to a town hall. They may not go to the rallies. And of course, for the past 2 years, we haven't been able to go to these town halls or to the steps of City Hall. But if you can bring the politician to the people, that is really important. So I had that miniseries, and that miniseries will continue. Another miniseries that I had was Ministers on a Mission. I am in. I care about how ministry matters to people. I care about that. There are those who have been raised in the church and had very satisfactory relationships. And then there are those who, depending on their own life's walk, or maybe how the word has been delivered to them, maybe they've had church hurt. And those of you who know what church hurt is, someone type that in the chat. We say there's no hurt like a church hurt. But because I care about how ministry matters to people, I wanted to have a conversation with some ministers who I have known along the way. So I interviewed my own religious leader. Shout out to Dr. Thornton. I spoke to some other ministers who I've either worked with in social justice or in religious circles. So that's Pastor Richard Honeywell of City of Freedom Baptist Church, Pastor Robert Linden of Bethelite Institutional Baptist Church, and then there was Reverend C.R. Marshall of an Adventist church. Now, praise God, he just was moved to a church in the Bronx. So I've had conversations because I wanted to make sure that sometimes the theology actually matches with people's thoughts, and that people feel that they can ask certain questions that you can't sort of raise up in a sermon during the Sunday service and say, hey, I have a question about that. Or you might not be able to do it in a Bible study, but of course, hopefully you can. But sometimes they just need to hear a similar word, not a preached word, but a conversation about everyday things from people who are religious leaders. And so again, I brought that. The third one is because I am in the field of education. That is part of my career and part of my life. And so I had this very long series, and I think I'm up to like episode 14 or something like that. Episode 12, episode 14, I think, of a new classes in session. And as a result of not knowing what the educational world was going to look like during and post-Rona, I have my issues with that. I wanted to hear from different voices. And so the different voices included people at a variety of, let's say, seats in the classroom. So they were parents who chose a variety of educational options for their children. So we had a homeschooling session where there were three or four mothers who are skilled entrepreneurs and who also chose homeschooling for their children, because I wanted people to know that, yes, you can have your child in a traditional educational setting, but you could also embody homeschooling if you so chose, and to see 3 or 4 professional women who have successfully homeschooled their child. Not just one child, but in some situations, multiple children. I wanted to show that. I wanted to have you hear how they did it. I sent you resources about it. I sent you their websites so that you can go follow them if you wanted to incorporate that into your own child's educational journey. I also had conversations with one, two, three, four. So four professionals, and I'll say professionals, I'll describe what that is. So three of them are PhDs. Three of them are PhDs. Here we go. So it was Dr. Noreen Moffat, who is at Fayetteville State University in Fayetteville, North Carolina. It was Dr. Sharon Sanchez, who is a consultant and a former educational leader or administrator for Head Start. There is Dr. Frank Tuitt, who is the Chief Diversity Officer of the University of Connecticut. And then there's also Leslie Jones Sessler, who is a former principal and started a school for girls and then left that seat in the classroom and then chose to not only homeschool her child, but unschool him. I'll say that again, unschool him. She started and ran and led successfully a girls' school in the Midwest and then said, for my own child, I want to choose to do something different, and is successfully and has her own community of teaching and impacting lives of other people on Clubhouse, actually, about what unschooling is. So these professionals weighed in on trauma-informed education, unschooling, critical race theory, as well as supporting those educators who want to become higher education leaders. Fabulous, fabulous. Some of the other conversations I had includes Brother Atiba McLean, who is a LCSW, I hope I'm going to get this right, so a licensed certified social worker, who is an amazing person because I was really focused on trauma-informed care. Also did a session on trauma-informed ministry and how this entire global shutdown is impacting the hearts, the minds, and the thought processes of people, and not just the regular person, but parents, educators, essential workers, the children of all of these people, teachers, medical professionals, and that at some point people need a person to talk to. And then how that person, let's say 10, 15, 20 years ago, there was a lot of stigma about engaging in counseling or engaging in talk therapy. And so I wanted to bring someone who was from our local community to have the conversation about what that could look like and how it could be supportive and how it could be beneficial. And especially as we're in this situation, which is, yes, we've never seen it before. We don't really know how to navigate it. But to say, hey, you can, and again, I'm speaking now from a being raised in a church, you can have Jesus and you can have a therapist as well, right? Not all ministers are licensed social workers. Not all ministers have a training or official training in psychology or psychiatry or counseling or therapy. Some do, but if they don't, there's no shame in having somebody who knows how to give you strategies. Yes, prayer works. We all know that prayer works. There are times that you need a person to give you some specific tools in addition to prayer and reading the Bible and fasting and doing all that, but to get specific strategies that have to do with what we now know as or call mindset shifts, or some practices about stilling your mind, emptying all the things, all the noise from the outside and getting quiet or getting still, and then bringing you to some other places We have so many people who are walking around who are impacted not just by what's happening right now, but just about like almost generational issues. And if they can't work that out by sitting in a pew, let them work that out by sitting on a couch. And that's okay. So I wanted to just share that. And so also, if you go to those interviews, and again, you could either see it on Facebook Live, on the replay, or you can see it on the YouTube channel. You can actually go in and on the banner, just like it's on the banner right here, you can see their website or their contact information, and you can reach out and chat with them. While I was doing all this, an organization that I pay attention or that I am a part of because of my church, shout out to Salem Missionary Baptist Church in the heart of Flatbush, Brooklyn, the Lot Carey Baptist Farm Mission Convention, which I'm so enamored with, and their work and their mission, not just here locally, but across this nation and the world, asked or paid attention. So the key here is you don't know who's watching you, but they're watching you and they're seeing what you're doing. And at times they say, hey, come here. I see what you're doing. Can we do that over here? And that's what happened. So I have had the blessed opportunity to be literally from the back of the room and watching these amazing people who make an impact, again, not just here, let's say in the tri-state area, but across the nation and across the world, who are change agents, to now they sit opposite me, or rather we sit next to each other, as you've seen us here on a number of occasions, actually on the first Thursday of every month, here on their version of the digital couch. So I've had the opportunity, again, in 5, 10, 15 years of seeing these people by sitting in the back of the room of huge conventions. And now I'm talking to them. I'm not only talking to them, but I'm pushing the envelope and I'm asking them deep questions. And so God bless the Lot Carey Baptist Farm Mission Convention, who allowed me to host a digital couch for them. And I've done the best I can to promote it and to share the information on here on my personal page, because the group that we have is a private group. So I try to also share it on my page as well. And I've spoken not only to, I'm going to see if I can scroll. And again, if you see my YouTube channel, you'll see some of these in a playlist. So we addressed the issue in Haiti. And so we had a person whose hands and feet on the ground in Haiti during the devastation that occurred a couple of months ago. And so we spoke to a sister who's doing some great mission work there. I was able to interview an amazing couple, the Namdos, who in South Africa run a mission for young people who are experiencing homelessness. Not only experiencing homelessness, but who are in serious gangs, like the gangs that, I'll just say the gangs that we have here, but serious gangs. And these people, this couple reform them, and they provide them with not just a word, but also a bed, and also food, and also training. Like, that's powerful. That's powerful. Who else? A sister who is, actually the outgoing president of the organization, as well as the incoming president of the organization, and that is the Reverend Dr. Gina Stewart, who is our new president. And of course, there is a first in this situation, and she is the first female president of this international organization, which is more than 100 years old. And so I was pleased and just peacock proud to be able to interview her. Then we get into, and this is, so I'm going to wrap this part up. We get into this conversation of like current events. Now, I actually remember the day in my elementary school years where, was it every Wednesday or every Friday? Maybe it was every Wednesday, how we had to come to school and engage in a current event reflection. And I remember a couple of stories that literally sticks in my brain today, that we would have to look in our local paper and say, like, what's the news of the day? And then come up with our own little summative statement. Now, for those of you who are just popping on, this is my year in review, my 2021 year in review. And it's also the beginning of season 2. So we'll talk about that in a moment. And so I'm just sort of reflecting on the great things that happened here on the digital couch. And then I'm also going to chat about some other things that happened and let you know what's going to come up next. So, in me doing this sort of current event segment, I was always enamored by certain what we now know as newscasters or anchor people, and like, wow, how powerful they are to carry the news of the day and give the information to people. Well, of course, what's been happening over the past year and a half, 2 years, has met everybody with a brick wall. Like, we just don't know what to do. But sometimes, if you don't know what to do, talking about the thing and how you were feeling at that moment, it doesn't erase it, but it helps to frame and get you to face what's happening and get you to come up with a response. Having no response, develop a response, even if it's to just take a breath or to rephrase what you see or what you hear. And so towards the end of the year, we had some unsightly, ungodly devastations, not just to communities, but to people. And it had a very different sting, especially to women. And so the last few conversations that I had with through the Lot Carey Baptist Farm Mission Convention had to do about issues of misogyny, issues of violence against women, and particularly how the church is responding. And so I had the blessed opportunity to speak to a number of ministers and leaders. So that would be Dr. Kelly Farrow of the Circle of Sacred Fire. That would be Dr. Carolyn Patterson, who is in New Jersey, and Pastor C. L. Pace, I believe, in Detroit. And to hear their perspectives and their reflections on how the church is attempting to support issues of gender-based violence, how they are attempting to set up or empower or support their own ministries that they currently work on to address or to provide, again, support to individuals, or just to sort of make a statement. And that's very powerful, because if we as individuals are in pain and the community and the social circles that we engage in are silent, not that it's driving the nail further into the wound, but by saying nothing, you're actually saying a lot. So I had that amazing opportunity to do that. Now, of course, we're almost in a season 2. And so, of course, there are countless other conversations I had, but I am just very, very overwhelmed at how people who gave me this space allowed me to help their voice cross the waters, which is what I like to say, and go global by, again, what? Just pushing that live button right there. So the outcome of that is, not only am I sort of doing the talking. Remember I said there are like 3 types of people who sort of watch and lurk, and then people who comment, and then people who say, wow, like, I'd like to know maybe how to do that, but I don't know. So the people who, all right, shout out to my mom who just said, mom's here. I love you, mama. So the people who lurk, no problem. Let me just share the information with you. That's great. The people who have said, well, wow, that's interesting, I'm going to comment, then great. I take that information, and then of course I actually make more information. You know, I have this theory of plaid versus polka dot. Plaid versus polka dot. Just roll with me. Plaid versus polka dot. I say all the time, well, I say now, I'm polka dot. I don't talk about plaid things, right? I don't talk about plaid things. I talk about polka dot things. And some people who know me kind of know what those content buckets are. But those people who are plaid, well, you know, you talk about those things. You're not going to find them on my channel. You can go somewhere else about that. Not a problem. The third group of people that watch, sometimes they'll ask questions and then they'll say, wow, I think I have something to say. I'm not really sure. That's the last thing that has come out of this amazing work. And that is empowering entrepreneurs or empowering inspirational leaders to leverage live stream in order to market and monetize their message. I sit back, and if you've heard me long enough, I sit back and I marvel at how amazing the things are that people talk about. But then it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall, and they're just like, "Oh, I'm just going to throw it there," and then they walk away. Well, I always wonder, not everybody will sit and, let's say, again, the past 2 years, will come into a building in order to hear a word or a message. But there are some people who need a little bit more time to process that information. And when they're trying to do that, they actually like to read it. I'm looking for a book, not the long form book. Let's just say, not a book like this. This is a little thick, but maybe short form. And in our short attention span minds, they may need it in really, really, really tiny drips. And so that's where the live stream lab comes. The live stream lab is it's a private group because not everybody can come in. But it's my private group of people who I meet along the way who say, hey, I see what you're doing. Not really understanding it. I think I have something to say. I'd like to try it. Then I'm like, hey, come on in. Come on in. It's okay. Come on in. But that community has grown. It's in an amazing way. I think currently there are about 75 people in the live stream lab, and some people are pianists, some people are actors, like professional actors and actresses. Some people are inspirational leaders. Maybe they are holistic practitioners. Maybe they are ministers and pastors and, leaders, not just here. Maybe they're linguists. And so I have a couple of people who are literally born and raised and live currently on the other side of the world. And that group is fabulous because I'm just trying to get people to honor the voice that they have, but to also share that message with people who are not going to sit and listen to an hour-long or 2-hour-long presentation. We're zoomed out. We ain't got time for that. So I give information. I give like tips and sort of, I don't want to say hacks, but let's say shortcuts on how to make that message matter. Oh, I did it again. How to make that message matter in minute moments. Did y'all just hear that alliteration? This stuff comes out of my head just like this. I can't control it. But that's what happens in the live stream lab. So again, out of this work of and my mom is here to signify, she says I came out of the womb talking, not crying, but talking. But here's another thing that I like to say. I want people to work their words to work their worth. Work their words to work their worth. That's what we do in the live stream lab. What do? We meet twice a month on a Sunday at 8 p.m. And literally, you can either work with your own planner. I have mine. We work in concert by sharing ideas. And I get people to say, okay, hey, you did that little message. Can you put that in writing? Can you turn that into a little booklet? I outshined myself. This is the first thing that I published this year in a class that I did called Launch Your Live Stream. And so I developed this little masterclass that's just about general short information. But when I saw the information that I said, and then I put it in a little book or a workbook, child, I floored myself. I was like, oh my gosh. I said it so you could watch it live or watch it on the replay. but then I put it in something that people can hold. Some people really just need to hold something so they can take their own notes. Child, I have post-its, colorful pens, and everything. Sometimes I'm a margin person. I like to write in the margins. That works for me. So I listen to a sermon. And if anybody's seen me in church, I'll listen to a sermon. But you also see me with a notebook and with some pens. And I'm writing down what I say, poignant points to make purposeful posts. And then those are the things that I marinate on. Those are the things that become affirmation statements for me during the week. So when someone says, hey, what did you learn? Shout out to the memory of Sister Blanche Harris and Sister Lillian Davis and Sister Viola Tennell and Sister Katie Vaughn. These are mothers of the church from my church, Salem Missionary Baptist Church. After a sermon or after we went to a convention or some sort of a conference, or if you went out to listen to another sermon somewhere else. Now, if you grew up in a Baptist church or a Black church, this is what people would ask, or the older people in the church. So what'd you learn in church today? What'd you learn from the word? Why they do that? They wanted to make sure something stuck. So yeah, a snippet. So those little snippets, when I hear it, I like to write those things down, and then they wind up, here we go. They wind up being in some sort of a journal. Well, I realized that those journal snippets then can get reposted. And again, this literally is like one of the books that I just carry with me, and you see me carry it to church or wherever I go, because I think better when things are written down. Now, the last thing we do in the live stream lab is we test things out. So we sort of we collaborate, or we share, hey, this is an idea, what do you think about it? So again, I want people to take their word and make a stone that's in a pond. I want there to be a ripple effect. And that's what I support people in doing. Now, again, those people who are like on the sideline and they just want to watch, no problem. But just like we go to church 52 weeks out of the year, the only reason why we know John 3:16, the only reason why we know Genesis 1:1, the only reason why we know Psalm 27, the only reason why we know, give me another one, Philippians 4:16, is because what? We've heard it again and 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 again. So if I tell people, when you're listening to something and you hear something that strikes you, write it down. But do something for that minister or that leader. Type it in the comments. How many times do I tell that to people? And people are still like, I don't think she knows what she's talking about. I don't think she knows what she's talking about. Guess what? Go to any YouTube channel. Go to any channel where there is somebody who you've heard, who you like. Look at the comments. Look at the comments. In order to figure out if you really like something, instead of watching the whole hour-long thing, what do? You go to the comments and you see what? What people thought was interesting, in order to decide, are you actually going to go flow through it? Those are just one of the things I do in the live stream lab. Now, let me take the last few minutes to say, during this year coming up, and this is only about Learn to Grow You. I haven't even talked about Seeds of Imani. That's a different story. I've been blessed that people now have seen what I've done and then are asking, hey, Doriel, can you help me out? No problem. My time, though, as my father, God rest his soul, would say, there's only 24 hours in a day. So I've taken a lot of those questions that people ask, and I've started to put them into very small moments on Tuesdays, which I did during 2021, and I'll continue to do it during I think this is going to be a tongue twister to say 2022. So let me just say at the outset, we will probably just say 22. There's a word for that. I don't know what the word is. We're probably just going to say 22. Here we go. That there will be a Tech Tip Tuesday. That Tech Tip Tuesday is only for Live Stream Lab. So if you want the Tech Tip Tuesdays, you got to come in Live Stream Lab. Those are 15-minute. The max is 15 minutes. Little bite-sized moments where I say, almost like, did you know? Check this out. Give this a try. For those of you who are just popping in, this is my year in review of the work that we've done, that you've joined in with me, and I really appreciate those people who are here. So again, Tech Tip Tuesdays are like 15 minutes, and I'm going to tell you right now, I will be in a variety of places. I try to do it in the middle of the day, but because of the location that I'm at, if you catch me on a lunch break, I could be anywhere. I could be in a closet. I could be in a stairwell. I could be in a corner. I just want to give you this information. But again, it's only in the live stream lab. It's only if you're interested in sort of figuring out, can I do live streams like that? What can I do? How can I? And here's what I want to focus on for the next couple weeks. When people get on and they start their stream, there's two different types of folk. There's somebody that says, let me wait 10 minutes until I get 55, or let me say it the way 50, 11 people in the room, and then I'll start giving the content. How about no? You know what people are going to do? What they do. They're going to scroll on to somebody else. They don't have time to wait for you and have 50, 11 people in. If you go back and watch this replay, I think I waited 30 seconds before I joined the room. That was it. The first 3 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds, if you don't snatch the edges of the person who's watching you, they are going somewhere else. And that actually is meta, all pun intended, metadata that comes out, which is why the other group of people, when they do their live streams, and this I'll give to you for free, the first 3 seconds that their face hits that camera, they begin dropping that hook. That hook. If you do not hook the person who's watching you, they're going somewhere else and you've lost them. People listen to me, and for the most part, when I do my digital couch like this, you can probably recite my intro. You may not know what it says, what it means, but you kind of know what I'm talking about. I start with Dumela, Saubona, Sakpase. Y'all can finish this now if you roll with me. Namaste, Upshin, Dubra Otra, Assalamu alaikum, Hotep. Buenos, if it's the morning, buenos dias, bonjour. If it's the evening, bonsoir. I just forgot it. Buenos noches. What's up? And that's what I start with. Why? First of all, I want y'all to learn languages other than Spanish, okay? I don't want you to learn a greeting that's other than Spanish. But the other thing is because I want the people who also speak these languages to know, I see you. I'm not going to another country and demanding that you learn English. And therefore, I'm only going to speak English. Thank you, Mama. Mama dropped the hotep. Even my mama dropped the hotep. Go ahead, Mama. Thank you. But I am going to recognize and honor and respect a language other than English and do the best that I can to at least speak it. And if I can only do that with greetings or hello or good evening or good day, it's one more thing that I'm trying to do to reach my hand across the waters. So, Tech Tip Tuesdays, that's what we do. My focus is going to be on intros and outros. Intros, what are you going to do in that first couple of moments to snatch somebody's edges, to get them to pay attention that you, I'm not poking at you, so my finger's going to touch here, that you are the person that people need to listen to. So that's going to be my focus. I'm actually going to be doing these things in, let's call them mini challenges throughout the next couple of months. So you will see me posting these little calendars in my personal group, in my private Facebook group, in my business page. Those people who would like this to do this with me, no matter what it is you do. It's really like a brainstorming session, but it's a focused brainstorming session. No matter what it is that you do, if you ever have to speak, and some people will say, don't lead with, oh, please forgive me. We're not doing that. Because the moment that you say, please forgive me, or I'm nervous, or, I'm just trying to pull it together, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, why is he or she up there? If you're not confident enough to speak with your back straight and your head up high, go sit down somewhere. So we're not doing that. We're not doing that in 22. In 22, I need to see you. I need to see you so you can join us. Last but not least is, and this is let me do it right here. When I decided to take the information that I do here on a weekly basis and put it into, again, I can speak it, but then also put it into another form, which is a paper form, I came up with this. So is the 22, I'm just going to focus on 22, the 22 live stream planner. And I floored myself. Thank you to the people who purchased it and gave me some really good feedback. But I said, hey, I do this every week. I have like 3 different planners that I kind of work out of, one for work and then one for all of my social media work. And I said, I really, really need one just for live streaming. And so I designed one for myself. And some people are like, well, hey, if you're going to design it for yourself, design it for other people. You'd have to go onto Amazon. You can go on my website in order to get one for yourself. But let me tell you something. It's only for people who, I'm going to say this, it's only for people who speak in public. It's for people who speak in public. If you teach a class, if you are, let's say, a person who speaks in public or Zoom public, right, speaks online, that's who it's for. It's not for someone who sits on their couch and watches television. Nope. It's not. It's for someone who has to speak in public, whether you're doing a Zoom room, whether you're doing a go-to meeting, whether you're doing Facebook Live, Instagram Live. It's for those people who speak because it's organizing the thoughts according to quarters, according to months, according to even weeks, taking your bullet points, doing acronyms and alliterations, like sort of the word play of what you're going to do, and putting that into a format so that you're not throwing spaghetti at the wall. You're speaking with a structure. That's who it's for. It's for people who have to speak in public, whether it be digital public or face-to-face public, and how they need to organize their words. Again, work your words to work your worth. I want you to work your words to work your wit. I'm going to say this so many times that y'all going to be saying that's a tongue twister, but y'all going to get it probably by May. I'm just saying. Last but not least, this is only Learn to Grow You. The work that I've done in the Claw Squad, not the Claw Squad, but Seeds of Imani. Thank you so much to the people who literally have watched the work that I've done and said, hey, other people have to see this. So last thing I'll just share, and again, this is our year in review, and I just realized I didn't bring it. Oh, sorry. I can't even go grab it. Not a problem. Is the work that I did with Dr. Tori Ellis, and God bless Dr. Tori Ellis. Even though she is considered a mentee of mine, I think of her as my hero. She's the one who paid attention. Again, people watching, you don't know that they're watching. She paid attention to work that I've been doing for a number of years. And she said, oh my goodness, I would love to highlight and put you as a character in my book. And so last year you saw me as a character in a children's book. And the launch of that book was called, or the first iteration of that book is Imani's Christmas Wellness Check, right? Imani's Christmas Wellness Check. And that is found on IamAMiniEntrepreneur.com. 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 And we had a wonderful launching last year of just, recognizing that in the holiday season, sometimes we overwork ourselves and we need what some may call like a woosah moment, but how do you have that? You don't have to sort of go out and buy this, buy that, buy the other. Just go into your kitchen, go into your healing laboratory and take those things that we've learned from our elders and actually put them into practice. For those of you who are just coming, we're wrapping up. This is the year in review. This is the year in review on the digital couch. I'm actually interviewing myself. And so we did that launch. It was fabulous. It was so amazing just to see your face as a character on a book. Fabulous. So then Dr. Tori came back to me. Well, she was Tori last year, and then she's Dr. Tori now. She said, hey, I have another idea. Let's do another holiday book. I was like, okay. The turnaround time was just magical. And she said, why don't we focus on Kwanzaa? That's a drop in the bucket. No problem. So we worked on that together, on that collaboration together. Amazing. God worked in such an amazing way. We not only launched the book, but at the same time, and shout out to Sister Karen, because I know you're watching, another person who watched the work happening said, hey, I'd love to have your products be the holiday gift for my company. And so I then wound up, and y'all saw me, and I'm saying y'all intentionally, y'all saw me on Instagram, and I think I may have posted a couple on Facebook of me just in the lab, like making all of these beautiful soaps, handmade soaps, and then the butters that match them. And so people would just, it was just an amazing outpouring. And I cannot take this opportunity and leave without saying thank you to the people who showed up, who supported, who asked questions, who asked me to diversify my portfolio, my offerings, and not say thank you. Madasi, Asante Sana, Ngiyabonga. I don't even know how many ways to say it. Merci beaucoup. Give me some other ways and I'll say that too. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. So if y'all, as I said in a post the other day, if y'all thought 2021 was something, no other way for me to say it. 22 gonna be lit. So I look forward to you joining us on this path. If you want to catch any of this later, no problem. If you want to share this, if you want to tag anybody so that they see it, I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm blessed. Please follow us at learntogrowyou.com on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you want to participate in either, or if, of course, you want to see the digital couch. Because I'm being strategic, the digital couch, I'm probably going to keep it the way it is. Currently, it's on my personal, business, and my YouTube channel. I think I'm going to keep it like that. Then follow us. If you want to be a part of like a private circle, I'm going to have to put some of this information. Thank you so much for that thumbs up. I appreciate it. I'm going to have to put some of this information, not just for the whole general public, but I'm going to start having to like build layers, because there'll be some information that I give to everybody and everyone can participate. But then some people want a slightly different other offering. And so that's going to then be a closer circle. If you want to be a part of and learn some tips and supportive ideas on either launching your own live stream, I'm actually going to have a masterclass about that. If you already live stream, but you're trying to do the next best thing, and that's to level it up, there's going to be a masterclass for that. I'm going to have a masterclass for that. If you want to be on the digital couch, there's going to be a link for that, and that's going to be on my website as well. And there'll be moments of spotlights, which we're going to start at the end of this month. There's so many people who are now seeing the benefit of having either this like an hour, if you want an hour, or even a 15-minute spot of getting their word out there. And if you're nervous about paying attention to this camera right here, no problem. Just pay attention to me. I'll just ask you the questions and then you get to shine. That's what I want to do. I want people to shine. I want you to shine. I want you to shine. I want you to work your words that work your worth. That's what I want you to do. I want you to leverage live stream to market and monetize your message. That's what I'm here to do. That's what I'm here to do. So, in that light, for this time that is mine, if there are questions, please drop them in the comments and I will go back and answer them. I will shout out every single person who was on here tonight. I do appreciate you. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll respond to them. If you follow us on Learn to Grow You, again, at YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, we can become buddies. If you want to follow me for the wellness advocacy, and I want to do some like wellness challenges during the year as well, you can follow us at seedsofimani.com, 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 where we offer products, protocols, and practitioners, the holistic practitioners who actually, they're specialists in the things. I just admire them. But these specialists who do this work, whether it be Reiki or massage or trying to think of some of the other things like acupuncture. Ooh, child, acupuncture. That was a whole mood. Of all these people who I know, who know me, I want you to know about them and benefit from them. I've given out a monthly digital newsletter, which is not really a newsletter, it's a calendar, and then some links connected to systems of the body that a number of people are like, oh my goodness, you're giving this away. So I may have to rethink that. But if you want that information as well, you have to follow the websites. So again, learntogrowyou.com for visibility marketing, and then seedsofimani.com for wellness advocacy. I love you all. Grace and peace, peace and blessings. This is a Learn to Grow You moment where I plant seeds to help you grow. I want you to take the information that you have and the intention that you want and move it into a positive direction. Thank you so much for joining us for the year in review. This is Doriel and Aslaria signing off, and I will see you. I want to see you in 22. Peace and blessings.